series on Uttarakhand with a focus on ecology, partly because I watched this really interesting video by a fellow YouTuber from India who was commenting on how there's a tourist trap in Uttarakhand where people sell pine cones on the street to tourists. And the commentator was saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe people are selling these. It's literally everywhere on the street. But I think it's a very cool commentary from the locals' parts on how they view nature. Because as I have mentioned in previous episodes, the British have really changed how people understood nature by collecting taxes on forest produce, etc. Whereas before the locals viewed the forest as a interconnected phenomenon with their daily lives. And I found it a very interesting phenomenon in regards to the commercialization of forest land. And it all started with the British. Today we will focus a little bit more on post-independence India because we want to discuss the women-led Chipko Andolan, which inspired the term tree hugging in the 1970s, as well as renewed environmental consciousness amongst people, and how to deal with commercial demands in addition to coexistence with animals, such as the Uttarakhand leopard. There is a really fun song that I recently learned which discusses how humans collectively united against the fearful leopard. But the leopard could also serve as a metaphor for foreigners, right? For people who invited themselves into Uttarakhand. And I'll just read a really interesting poem from Songs of Ecstasy about this company, right? There's a lot of satire in this book, such as the sad plight of the laborer in the company warehouse. Oh, how wonderfully funny you are. You've quit your business, and now I see you're paying homage to the porters in the marketplace and at the wharf. I see no shortage in the jurisdiction of the company, and who else will associate with you now? Now, finally, this good name of the company is spread throughout this land. You've abandoned your business. You've done well. All your worries of what will happen are now gone. At one time there was buying and selling. Now there is no more accounting in the morning or afternoon. For the light of the world has come to the land of India. So freely I know you had abandoned all your wealth, wandering and searching throughout the entire company. That's why you break your back working here. Your name is written in the account books of the company warehouse. Will there be any profit in such a kingdom? The one who from time to time engages in worthless expenditures has so many needs. He understands nothing and his work is futile. Oh, how funny. Wherever there is export and import, how can there be any buying and selling without some bribe? And for whose sake are the tares in the warehouse being weighed? In a certain kingdom, a king sat upon a throne. The people freely engage in business. There are horripilations of joy at a beautiful sight. All the people engage in thousands of transactions, and the business in that realm goes along easily. If there's exemption from gifts, taxes, and tariffs, how were they prevented? Say that indeed was by means of love. The tax upon the waterways was waived. So I'll go and dwell in that land. There's no brokerage or commission, for all that ostentatious show is false. Look, Shashi appears amidst the company of merchants. This is page 68 from Songs of Ecstasy, titled The Wondrous Marketplace of the Benevolent King. It is partly satirical about the British colonial regime, but there are some interesting intercultural exchanges, as was the time. It was not simply just attacking the British. So I think that's like a useful metaphor for Uttarakhand as well. Like the area, which is now known as Garhwal, was once also titled Lansdowne. And there's a famous song about Lansdowne where people unite with each other to fight the ferocious bug. An interesting united front against peril when there is an environmental threat to human existence in literature and song, but also when the tide of anti-colonialism rose up high, then these songs and satirical commentary can be read as a anti-British popular sentiment as well. The historian Sunil Amrit wrote a book, which I have in this type of format, about how the environment was conceptualized in the 50s at the dawn of independence as this force to be tamed. And it does not really discuss how like these ideas of money really entered into people's consciousness at the time, especially in regions like Uttarakhand and further west from his native ancestral homeland, Bengal. His focus is more on Bengal. But I think the same case is applied because we have like constructions of dams